Hey folks, welcome back to the Contrarians. Marco here. I'm going to be doing a solo episode today. So today I'm going to be focusing on the band The Move. They were a little less popular in North America. They're from the UK. I discovered them a long time ago when I was like in high school through a book called Black Diamond Volume 2, which was a book about Kiss record collecting and stuff like this. And they had mentioned the Wizard Brew album in there as being somewhat of a influence on Kiss with Roy Wood's Wizard. He had all the makeup and all that stuff, which influenced Kiss early on. So I kind of found that interesting, and then I ended up checking out that album, and kind of that's what opened the door for me to be interested and enjoy Roy Wood, Wizard, The Move, and then later ELO. So The Move is, you could call it the pre-ELO band because at least the second half of The Move, which included Jeff Lynne, ended up basically becoming ELO. And what had happened was The Move had been around since from the 60s, and they had put out a couple of albums and a bunch of singles. They were a single band. So like a lot of their hits were from their singles. They had put out the debut album, The Move, and then they had put out Shazam, which is the album with the really cool cover where it's like a cartoon and they're kind of dressed like superheroes and they each have a letter of The Move on their chest. So they put out a couple of albums, and that's when Carl Wayne was the lead singer of the band, and Roy Wood, and they started off as a 5-piece, then they became a 4-piece. Bev Bevan was on drums. Roy Wood was writing a lot of the songs. He sang some of them. And then Carl Wayne was out, and then Jeff Lynne came in, which kind of started the second half of The Move, where they put out a couple of albums, Looking On and Message from the Country. I had all of these albums. I had all the Move albums. I had all the reissues. So the ones that I had were the ones that had the album plus all of the singles and demos and outtakes and all kinds of stuff like this. So I'm very familiar with The Move. I'm very familiar with a lot of their songs and stuff like this. I always leaned towards the second half of The Move when it comes to what my favorite stuff was. I really liked the singles early on with Carl Wayne, but my favorite stuff was always kind of the Jeff Lynne pre-ELO stuff, which supposedly these albums, I think when Roy Wood and Jeff Lynne had gotten together, the band The Move kind of owed the record label a couple of albums. So what they did was they ended up kind of in preparation for ELO stuff, they kind of recorded and mixed this and put this out on the side almost while they were getting ready for ELO, which is interesting because Looking On especially doesn't really sound like ELO. Message from the Country, I find there's more ELO-ish stuff going on there. I mean, with Looking On, there's Open Up, Said the World at the Door, which is kind of reminds me of some stuff from the first ELO record. But it was really this kind of side project for Jeff Lynne and Roy Wood, and they were kind of in an experimental phase and like trying different stuff. So I've kind of gone on a little bit without telling you what my pick is. So my pick is actually Contrarian. My favorite Move album, it's really close between Message from the Country and Looking On, but it's actually Looking On. And I'll explain that in that, you know, I like some of the stuff off the first album, but it's very 60s sounding and very indicative of what was going on in the 60s. The way it was produced, the way the songs were structured, they're very kind of 60s pop rock-ish. The second album, Shazam, I know gets a lot of love. It's typically when you see where these albums fall in rankings lists, it's kind of like Shazam is usually like number one. Even the first album, Message from the Country, is right in there. Looking On is almost always at the bottom of the list of the 4 records. I like Shazam. They have the Cherry Blossom Clinic Revisited is on there. The second half of Shazam, at least the original release, the second half is covers, but they were kind of like long extended covers. I like Hello Susie on there. It's pretty heavy for an opening track. Cherry Blossom Clinic Revisited is on there, which kind of has this elaborate introduction and production and all this stuff. And again, like the versions that I had were the ones with the extra songs on it. So they had the singles, like A Certain Something, Curly, Wild Tiger Woman was on there. I like those songs a lot. Blackberry Way was on the reissue. That was their only #1 single, at least in the UK. I like Shazam, but my favorite was always Looking On. And that's because I like every song off of Looking On. The first album, songs are kind of hit and miss for me, but there is some good stuff I like on it. Shazam kind of has the second half of it, which are these, like every song off Shazam except for the track Beautiful Daughter, which I like. It's kind of ballady. Every song off of that's long, and I kind of feel like some of those songs don't need to be that long, whereas Looking On is definitely another step in that direction of progressiveness and long songs. Most of the songs are pretty long on it. But I like Looking On, even though I think it gets criticized for the production. I think, and I hear it, like it is a little muddy sounding. It is a little stuck in the mud. I wish some of the songs had a little bit more urgency, but with Looking On, like I like every song. I like the title track, Looking On. There's some hidden gems for sure. When you listen to Looking On, the fact that it came out in 1970, it feels a little ahead of its time. It's almost Black Sabbath-esque, some of the stuff on it. And I dig Roy Wood's voice. And I dig kind of the heavy riff on like Looking On. Turkish Tram Conductor Blues, I love the song What, which is a Lynne lead vocal. I love when Alice Comes Back to the Farm is just rock, like these songs like rock and they're grooving and they're, a couple of them are a little shorter. Open Up Said the World at the Door, Brontosaurus, Feel Too Good is probably my favorite Move song ever. And that one's about 9 minutes. Again, I kind of think it probably could have been a little shorter than 9 minutes, but I just find that with Looking On, like it's more the kind of music that I like. It's heavier than anything they did. It's more progressive than anything they did. And I really think that Jeff Lynne's influence, or what he brought to the band, like he brought a lot to the band. And I think it really progressed them musically anyways. And this band was really led by Roy Wood and Jeff Lynne. I also really like Message from the Country. The thing with Message from the Country is it's a little poppier, which there's nothing wrong with. I do find there's a couple of things on there that are a little more jokey, like My Marge is on there, which is a little jokey. Looking On doesn't have any of those jokey songs. They're very just straightforward, heavy, bluesy, progressive, groovy. Like Feel Too Good is very groovy and very cool. That I like it a lot. Message from the Country has some good songs on it too, like Ella James. I really like Message from the Country. The title track is good. Don't Mess Me Up is okay. Ben Crowley Steel Company, that's Bevan's vocal, and that's one where he kind of sounds like Johnny Cash, and it's kind of like a story, kind of like Johnny Cash did with like A Boy Named Sue, which is okay. I don't mind that one either. There is some good stuff that I love. The Words of Aaron is a good one. There's a good live performance of that, and that one, Message from the Country, they had actually recorded Looking On as a 4-piece with Rick Price on bass. He left the band, so they did Message from the Country as a 3-piece. And actually, Jeff Lynne did some of the drumming on Looking On as well, which is interesting because some of the comments that I had read was that some people actually preferred Jeff Lynne's drumming on some of the tracks that he drummed on Looking On. So I do like all of the Move albums. My ranking is kind of like, they're all kind of, really Message and Looking On are kind of neck and neck. The other, Shazam, would come after those two. And then the self-titled debut would be 4th for me. And I know that that's contrarian just because of the ranking lists that I looked at. Like I had mentioned earlier, Looking On, I think, charted the least out of the 4. It's typically not, critical consensus was pretty harsh on Looking On. Most of the other records had pretty good critical consensus. So it is a contrarian pick, but I kind of think like, when I look at each album, and I did this with Flush the Fashion, it was kind of like, which album do I like? Alice Cooper, Flush the Fashion, which album do I like every song start to finish? And if you're going with the move, it's for me, it's Looking On. I like Looking On every song, start to finish. The reissue that I had for Looking On, it kind of had some tracks with outtakes, which I didn't really care too much for. It had a track that Carl Wayne sung, Lightning Never Strikes Twice in the Same Place, which was okay. But I just find that the actual album itself, I like every song start to finish. And I like the performances of the band members. I like that it was heavy. I like that it was progressive. And it's kind of the black sheep of the Move records. And I kind of dig that even in a way. But that's pretty much it. Like I could go on. Looking On, All Music gave Looking On like 3 out of 5 stars. All the other albums from reviewed on All Music all had at least 4 stars. So it was the least rated on All Music. Bevan didn't really like the album. Critics at the time didn't really like the album. Again, the production was kind of commented on. Critics commented on the production as being an issue. But at the end of the day, I'm more of like a song guy, and the production doesn't bother me as much if I like the songs. So it is a little psychedelic, and honestly, I usually don't like stuff that's too psychedelic, but here that doesn't bother me so much. Like I do hear some stuff in there that's like could be considered psychedelic, but it doesn't bug me too much on Looking On. There you have it. Just a quick Contrarian review of the Move discography. It's a band that I really like a lot. Like I said, I discovered them through liking the band Kiss. I know actually Roy Wood with Wizard opened up for Kiss back in the 70s, and apparently they were like booed off the stage. So that's a bit of a shame. So I don't think they ever really made a big impact on the American market. And I think it's a little bit of a shame. I do think that they're definitely a good band. If you like rock, if you like hard rock, classic 70s rock, progressive rock, 60s rock, if you like that kind of stuff, then and you're not too familiar with the Move, I think if you go and listen to some of their stuff, you'll be pleased that you'll probably find some tracks that you enjoy. I really liked it, and I really liked all 4 of the albums. And I guess that's it for this review. So if you have any comments about the Move discography, if you like one album over the other, let me know which ones, let me know which songs you like. Again, I like the singles. I like Chinatown. I like California Man. In terms of the albums, I do lean towards the second part with Jeff Lynne a little bit more. And I kind of, the albums really are kind of almost tied for me, but I think I just like Looking On a little bit more than the other ones. So there you have it. Just a quick Contrarian review of the Move discography. We have Patreon page if you want to support the channel. There's exclusive videos on Patreon. If you don't want to subscribe for a monthly fee, we have a Ko-Fi account where you can just make a one-time donation. If you can't at all make a donation, then we just appreciate you coming by, checking out the channel. If you can subscribe and like the channel, we'd appreciate it, or like the posts or the videos. Comment, tell us what you like or dislike about the channel and the videos that we're doing, and let me know what Move album is your favorite. Let me know if you prefer ELO over the Move, or Wizard to ELO, or like what you think about the whole, Jeff Lynne, Bevan, the Move part 2, or sorry, ELO part 2 and all of that stuff. Like, I'm a big fan of all of that music. So let me know what you think. And this was kind of a cool episode to do. And hopefully we'll have some more episodes up soon. And we'll check you out next time. Thanks a lot, everybody.
That's it, dude.